lecture from Dato Fadli, Muhammad Yusof, the what to call him. He is the founding, the manager, the developer for the first Islamic insurance in Malaysia and in the region. So before we start, we are going to recite Al-Fatiha to get the barakah from our meeting today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin.
Nak cakap tu je.
Brothers and sisters, I wish to welcome you all again to the ninth week of the online program organized by the IIIT East and Southeast Asia for the student, lecturers, and the general public on the topic of Islamic business management. Please off your mic. Which is to be conducted in 18 weeks. So we are coming to the middle of the program, sorry. Alhamdulillah, we have more than 1,000 participants registered in this program, and some of them are attending through Zoom today. Maybe not many because of the time difference in many countries, the Facebook, and some of them are using the YouTube channel. We have selected experienced lecturers from Kuliah Economics to deliver lectures on all topics that we found very useful for the participant to learn from outside the university, which was taught in business from Islamic perspective, because not many people will have the opportunity to get this kind of lecture outside the university. Okay, so this is why we are doing it online, and so that other people can also benefit. In addition, we are inviting speakers who have wide experience in industries that apply Islamization in their business activities. In this week, we have invited. In the last week, we have invited Dr. Saiyah Osman to speak on his experience in establishing the first Islamic hotel in Turkey. So he has given the 3 hours lecture last week, and today you are very fortunate to have someone who have been given the task by the Prime Minister of Malaysia at that time, Tun Mahathir Mohamad, to establish and manage the first Islamic insurance company in Malaysia. It was 40 years ago, in 1982. I'm sorry, my alarm's telling me to start. Dato Fadli was born on the 14th of September 1944 in Terengganu, Malaysia. He studied in the field of marketing and communication in London, while he was working with Radio Malaysia in London and BBC London. After completing his studies, he came back to Malaysia in 1976. He worked at the Malaysian National Insurance from 1976 to 1981. In 1982, he was given a very important task to study on the establishment of an Islamic insurance in Malaysia, until the first Islamic insurance company was established by the government of Malaysia in 1984. He was appointed as the first CEO of the company from 1984 to 2005 until he retired. During his lifetime, he helped other countries in the Muslim world to set up Takaful, namely Brunei 1995, Indonesia 1995, Singapore 1998, Sri Lanka 1989, Maldives 1998, Saudi Arabia 1998, Pakistan in 1999, Gambia in 2006, and Nigeria in 2015. In 2008 till 2013, it was about 5 years, he was appointed academic fellow at Insaniah University where I was the rector of the university, for him to impart his practical knowledge to the postgraduate student. So we managed to bring many students from over Malaysia to benefit from his lecture, Alhamdulillah. He was awarded the title of Dato-ship from the king on the recognition of his service to the nation and to the Ummah. So the very long profile of Dato' Fadli, which I don't want to take much of time because it has been sent to your online. With that, I would like to invite Dato' Fadli to deliver his lecture on managing an Islamic insurance company, which he has just changed, putting Takaful as part of the mainstream financial landscape. Thank you very much. Welcome, Dato' Fadli.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jamil, especially for still remembering me, an old man, and still would like me to share with our Muslim brothers on the development of Takaful. And I will also take this opportunity to personally thank you for arranging this. And of course, the IIIT and my supplication for IIIT to prosper for the future, for the sake of Ummah. Thank you so much. Well, to talk on Takaful, I think for me, it will take a day. But in the short period of time, what I would like to highlight and share with you is the experience that we went through in Malaysia in setting up Takaful. As you know, it is important to also understand the state of the insurance during those days, 40 years ago, before we embark upon a Takaful project, because we must make sure that the image of insurance would not spill over and being carried over by Takaful once Takaful industry is established. So in my slide there, I highlighted the fact that in general, the image of insurance at that time, I don't know now, but at that time, it was unpleasant. It was bad. It was not good at all. Why? And it covers both life as well as general insurance businesses. The products are not attractive. It is not consumer friendly, heavily depending on agency, and then sometimes, or most of the time, you're not sure whether when you make a claim, you put a claim, you'll be able to get your money or not. And as you know, they rely heavily on the agent, and the agency at that time was not that professional. A lot of twisting taking place, particularly in the sale of life insurance. I'm not going to go into detail what twisting means. It means that once you take a policy, and then the agent will come back to you, asking you to cancel that policy and buy a new one. And I know they give you a lot of good stories about the new policy that they wanted to sell. So as a result of that, you lose a lot of money as a consumer. And therefore, in general, as I said, the image was not good. Therefore, when we want to start a new system, particularly an Islamic one, we must make sure that all those pitfalls, all those negative images must be eradicated in the case of what we want to do. So the unique part in Malaysia is that the government was involved right from the beginning. I remember at that time I was working in a bank. That's what Dr. Jamil mentioned in his earlier remark. And that was in 1978. At that time, there was a big talk in Malaysia on the proposal to establish an Islamic banking in Malaysia. There were a lot of parties, particularly from the Middle East, came over to Malaysia, came over to see the people in the Ministry of Treasury, including, I understand, the Minister of Finance at the time, offering their services and offering also probably the investment to begin incorporating Islamic banking in Malaysia. But Malaysia, the government took a different stand. If we want to do Islamic banking system or Islamic financial system, then we do it from our own perspective. So what the government did was that the government first formed a body comprising of professionals, scholars, Islamic scholars, and government officials, legal experts and whatnot, bankers, to look into the establishment of Islamic Bank at that time. So the body was called the National Steering Committee for the Establishment of Islamic Bank in Malaysia. So it happened that one of my friends, actually my boss also, working in the bank that I was working, he was roped into that what we call National Steering Committee. I don't mind mentioning his name. Allah Yarham, Dato Dr. Abdul Halim. He's a well-known Islamic economist in Malaysia. Then he called me saying that we have been deliberating Islamic banking, but then came one subject among our committee member, he said, among the National Steering Committee member, is that the requirement for insurance. Once an Islamic bank is established, therefore we need an insurance system which complies with the Sharia requirement. So at that time, I was working in an insurance company. And he said, I don't have anybody, and not many Muslim Malays at that time were at the management level working in the insurance industry in Malaysia 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I happened to join, leaving the bank, I joined an insurance company, a Malaysia National Insurance Company. Then that's how I was involved, because he told me that the committee is going to recommend to the government to set up another body. It is called a task force. So it is called the task force to establish, or the task force to study the establishment of an Islamic insurance system, or insurance company in Malaysia. So the term Takaful did not appear at that time. We only knew about Islamic insurance. So the chairman of that task force was Tan Sri Dato Ahmad Ibrahim. Dato Dr. Jamil was together with him at UIA. He was the Sheikh of Kuliah, Faculty of Law at the Islamic International University, Malaysia. So the wisdom of those elders, I remember, we have to look into it objectively, you said, because if we immediately say that it is called Islamic insurance, therefore we say that the existing insurance companies were haram, although it is not Islamic, but we do not want to be accused of one labeling that company as haram in the context of Malaysia, the sensitivity of Malaysia. So that's how the approach then. Then I remember we had the opportunity to visit a number of countries. At that time, we knew that there were at least two so-called Islamic insurance companies to be about established. One was in Sudan, one was in Saudi. And the one in Sudan actually was at that time under the Faisal Faisal Islamic Bank Group, Islamic Faisal Group, which was based in Switzerland. So in fact, we did go to Switzerland, to the Faisal Group headquarters in Geneva. Then when we were there, we knew that, they were not yet fully operational, but when we were in Geneva, then only we knew that the term Takaful was to be established. In fact, I remember I was there as part of the delegation. They gave us a draft, what we call it in insurance term, the policy draft, or the certificate, the Takaful certificate. The Takaful certificate for family Takaful, for the life side. So the word, the term, the terminology Takaful was used rather than Islamic insurance. And then at the same time, we were in Saudi, and then we were supposed to go to Sudan because the Sudan Islamic Insurance Company, in actual fact, was part of the Faisal Group, and Faisal had at that time the Islamic Bank of the Faisal Islamic Bank. So the relationship is that when there is a bank, Islamic bank to be established, the requirement for Islamic insurance is important. So the similar thing happened in Malaysia, because in Malaysia, we began to look into Islamic insurance when there was a project or there was a plan to set up Islamic banking in Malaysia. So to ensure that the whole operation of the bank complies with Sharia, the insurance part that bank may require should also be in conformity with Sharia. So that was the scenario then. So when we did not go to Sudan because the Islamic Insurance Company of Sudan had a branch in Jeddah. So we met the manager of the branch of that particular Islamic Insurance Company of Sudan, and coincidentally, it happened that the general manager of the Faisal of the Islamic Insurance Company in Sudan was also in Jeddah. So we met him. I forgot his name. He's from Pakistan. So then only I knew that we were told earlier in Malaysia when we discussed the paper. There was an exposure paper written by Dato Dr. Ahmad Ibrahim, Allah yarham, an exposure paper on the proposed Islamic insurance system, the system of Islamic insurance. In the nutshell, the paper concluded that under the Islamic insurance system, the consumer, the public, the user, the policyholder, but we term it in Takaful, the participant would enjoy free cover. That was in his paper. I remember that particular phrase, free cover. And I was then working in an insurance company. When I went back to the office, I had a discussion with my boss then, and we began to ponder, how could in business we give free cover? Then when we were in Jeddah, when we listened to the operation, to the business structure, to the working practice of Islamic insurance system, then only we knew what Allah yarham Dato Ahmad Ibrahim meant by free cover. Under the Islamic insurance system, the contribution or the premium is considered as an investment, part of investment, as well as a donation to help fellow participants if any of them should suffer a catastrophe and as a result suffered a loss. But after paying all the losses, if the pool had a surplus and that surplus is to be shared with the participant, something like that in general. And I remember I asked the two companies operating in Jeddah, one the branch of the Islamic Insurance Company of Sudan, and the other one was I forgot the name actually, it's too long. Under the Dallah Group, that time under the Dallah Group. And they said that they paid back after 1 year upon this. They only at that time undertook to provide general insurance only. I mean, to cover assets, not the life side yet. So they said they will be able to pay back. I think they were in the second year of operation. The first year they managed to pay 14% back. So you pay 100, say as a premium or contribution. At the end of the day, then if there is no claim or something like that, then you'll get a return of about $11 something, $11 something, 11%, 14%, something like that, if I remember vaguely. So then when we came back to Malaysia, the National Task Force then put a report to the government saying that, number one, I mentioned in the slide there somewhere, that if we want to establish the what they call Islamic insurance system in Malaysia, then we should adopt the term Takaful, which means joint guarantee. So it is not like one party accepting the risk of another party and guarantee to pay, a claim should anything happen to the other party. So Takaful means joint guarantee. So in other words, all the participants will join to help each other in case there is a catastrophe that any one of them suffered. And the company or the operator or the body that undertakes the pool, to manage the pool, that is the Takaful operator. And it is based on trust. So at that time, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a Sharia scholar. We have in the committee Sharia scholars. The contract would be based on the principle of al-mudarabah. And then in the contract, there is the tabarruk part of it. And the tabarruk part for Takaful is more important rather than the mudarabah. So in other words, if a mishap happens and there is a claim to be established, and therefore the first priority is the tabarruk will trigger, whereby all the participants will agree to pay to the victimized participant the whatever the loss. Of course, this is done professionally. We're not going into detail. There is a process. I mean, as far as the modern management tools are used also in Takaful. I apply in Takaful. We must make sure that in terms of management, we follow the latest or the modern management principles. So, in the system of Takaful or insurance, if there is a loss, when the participant lodges the claim with the insurance company, the company will then, the operator will then appoint an adjuster to check, a surveyor to go and look into the loss. And then they got the details. They then will recommend, based on their professional decisions, on the quantum of loss. So it is done professionally, it's done independently. But the point is that when there is a claim happening, so all the members from the contractual perspective, from the akad is concerned, all agreed that we tabarruk, the money that we have paid as contribution will be used to pay for the benefit of the one who suffered the loss. So exactly like that. So once you pay the loss, once you have paid the loss at the end of the year, then when you close the account, you'll be able to know whether there is a surplus or whether there is a deficit. So if there is a surplus, then that surplus will then be shared. Number one, between the operator and the participant. Because the operator does not charge at the front the management expenses, the services. You know, the operator will have its own fund, the shareholders' fund, to pay for whatever, to finance whatever cost that the operator will have to incur to establish the company. But over years, they will share the whatever business or the surplus from the pool. In the case of general insurance, we call it general Takaful fund. So any surplus of the general Takaful fund first will be shared based on the mudarabah concept between the operator as the mudarib and the participant as the, we call it as the Rasul Mal, or as the provider of fund on that concept, right? So that was how it started. So we established that. So when we established that in 1984, the first Takaful company in 1984 that we established, the most important thing I think, which is a bit unique in Malaysia, is that right from day one, that was the recommendation by the task force, is that there must be a special or a separate act, separate law to regulate Takaful business. If insurance, if banking, I'm talking about conventional part of it, has special law, Insurance Act at that time, or the Banking Act, to regulate, to supervise, and to license the conventional banking and the conventional insurance industries. So we felt also that for Takaful, there must be a separate law, separate act, separate regulations to regulate the Takaful insurance or Takaful industry. So now that's how it started. So to me, I think Malaysia was seen to have the integrity and the credibility, because right from day one, we have the law to ensure that Takaful is on a level playing field with the insurance industry. So right from the beginning, the public did not perceive to see Takaful to be slightly given a favor by the government. No. So when we started, we have to have a certain minimum capital requirement, and that minimum capital requirement follows the requirement set for the conventional industry. If 100 million, then we have to chase for 100 million to ensure that we get a license. So it is no such thing as, okay, it is CCU new, okay, we will allow you to have a small capital. No. So right from day one, it was like that. And in terms of other regulations, and mind you, the regulatory body, the agency that regulates and supervises Takaful in Malaysia is the central bank. And so, they are very professional in that respect. So that's how we started. So, and then it is also important, the law is to set that if we have the law, no one can easily say, I'm also offering Takaful business. No such thing. Because I had, as I said, as what Dr. Jamil mentioned earlier, I was involved in the setting up of Takaful in Indonesia. It was quite tough because there was no law. I remember, during those days, the earlier days, I even went to see the equivalent of now they have a different name now. Otoritas Keuangan, Jaksa Keuangan, OJK or something like that. But before it was the Ketua Komisaris somewhere in the Ministry of Finance. In fact, they came over to Malaysia and having a discussion with me on how to speed up the establishment of Takaful in Indonesia. And the same thing in other parts. And I tried also to help establish Takaful because we were approached by our brothers in Thailand and Philippines. You cannot, because there's no law there. In fact, in the case of Philippines, I remember we went to Kota Batu and we happened to meet with, at that time, the president, Arroyo Macapagal. And I did say to her, Madam President, you must have a law. If not, we cannot help you establish it. So I don't know, even up to now, there is no Takaful in the Philippines. And in Thailand, it started. We would have 2 companies over there. But then somehow or other, it did not last long because of the fact that there is no law. So how to ensure that the operation of Takaful in the jurisdiction which has no law to govern to survive. So in Sri Lanka, the same thing, but we managed to strive through. And in Sri Lanka, as you know, it is listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange. In Maldives, they are talking now of having a separate law, of having a kind of law. Now they are talking, not a separate, but a special law to look into. Almost 20 years now. But again, in Sri Lanka, in Maldives, it is also Amana Takaful Maldives, a company over there. I'm still on the board. It's also what you call quoted on the Maldives Stock Exchange in Maldives. So that is the position there. Then we report. We wrote the report. The government accepted the report, and I would like to share a little bit of experience when we submitted the report. When handed over the report to the Prime Minister then, which is Dr. Mohd. That was in 1984. In April 1984, something, if I remember, I cannot remember exactly when, but it was in 1984. We handed over the report to him. 3 of us, Allahyarham, Dato Ahmad Ibrahim being the chairman, Allahyarham, Dato Dr. Abdul Halim, and myself. So we went to the PM's office. Then when we saw the Prime Minister, so this is the report, and in his remark, he said that, gentlemen, since you have recommended that Islamic insurance system can be established in Malaysia, so we will accept that, and we will help to facilitate what you call the establishment of such company. Then before we left the room, he said, but don't come back to me. I mean, this is what Tun Mahathir said. Don't come back to me after 10 years asking for more money because of mismanagement. So, Alhamdulillah, and if Dr. Jamil may recollect, when we were at Queen, you organized the Langkawi Internet Islamic Financial Conference, live conference somewhere like that, something like that, in Langkawi every 2 years. And Mahathir was invited to give a keynote address. And I happened to moderate his session. And in the opening remark, I mentioned what I said just now to him. But I told him, luckily, after 10 years, we were listed on the stock exchange, and we never came back to you to asking for more money. So that was history. That's how it developed. So then what happened was that, of course, the company was formed. So going back to what I said earlier, since it is important to ensure that the image of the Takaful industry in general does not follow the negative image of insurance industry then. So a number of things that we did was that, for number one, which is very important, the sales side, the marketing side. First, we did not use the agency system. Then, how come? Because the thinking, the perception of most people then was that insurance is bought, it's not sold. Insurance is sold, it's not bought, sorry. Insurance is sold, not bought. In other words, you have to push for people to come and buy your insurance or to take the insurance policy. So we have to change that. As a Muslim, it's good for us to put priority having a takaful. So insurance is bought or takaful is bought rather than sold. So if it is sold, then you have to push, as I said, so you need a lot of salesmen to go out and sell. So we have to find a new way how to do it. So actually, we did not use the agency system as such. So we do not use the agency system. If we do not use the agency system, then the whole process will look different. First, from the perspective of the management expenses. So, you know, in the case of insurance industry, during those days, at that point, because I was then working in the insurance industry and I knew the cost of what do you call it, management expense, the percentage of management expense on life side, on the life side first, was more than 250% of the first year premium. So in other words, you pay to the agent more than what you receive from your customer or from your policyholder for the first year cost of that particular policyholder join or buy the policy. If the policyholder pays a premium of 1,000, your cost to the agent alone was more than 2,500. So that was the reason why, very simple, from the mathematical or from the actuarial perspective, you cannot, if the policyholder decides to retire, to surrender, or to give up, not to join, not to continue, that particular policyholder will not be able to be paid, to get the refund, not even a single cent from the company, because the company incurs more than what actually the company receives, the insurance company receives. So that was the reason, you know, 200, I mean, the first, as I said just now, the management expense. And once Bank Negara, in the case of Malaysia, once Bank Negara took over the supervisory authority, then certain restrictions, certain regulatory requirements were then imposed. So the first thing I remember was that Bank Negara had a control on how much the first year management expense should be. They control it, they reduce it. So in the case of general insurance, if you look at the business at that time, more than 80% actually concentrated on motor business. And motor business, you know, the claim is very high. The claim for motor alone exceeded 150%. In other words, if you take the motor policy alone, the motor premium is not enough to pay the claim, because of the fact that the motor portfolio has the long tail liability, which is the third party liability. But in the case of third party liability, there is a reinsurance. How they arrange the reinsurance But if you look at the general Takaful fund per se, looking at the motor alone, actually it's not enough. It's a deficit. So again, how can an insurance company be able to share whatever surplus with the policyholder? So that was the image at that time. So we were thinking that all those negative features should not be present once we have Takaful. So therefore, number one, we have a group of people who go out and solicit for business, but we don't call them agents. Okay? We pay them a small salary, and we don't, the incentive, we do not take from the, the contribution paid by the participant. In the case of, in both cases. So how do we make money? But I tell you, as we all say, barakah can be found in textbook. We started the business. At that time, we call it the composite company. That means the company is given a license to operate both general Takaful and what we call is family Takaful. Family means the life side. Under one. Now, the law requires two separate entities, one for life, or one for family, and one for general. So during those days, it was a composite under one management. In the first year, we lost. We just start shop, just opened up shop. Obviously, you know, there were a number of preliminary expenses that we have to incur. So it will take some time to cover that cost. But alhamdulillah, in the second year, we broke even. We broke even. In the third year, we make a small profit. And in the fourth year, we paid dividend to the shareholders. That was our experience. And then I would like to share with you also on who were the shareholders. You see, during those days, at the early stage, the system Takaful was very, very new, very fresh. We were, we did not recommend then to open up to individuals because individuals may want return, quick return. And we were not sure at that time, you know, when we started, whether it's going to make money quickly or not. Then we therefore recommended to the government that the shareholders should be Islamic institutions. In Malaysia, as you know, we have 14 states under the Federation of Malaysia, 40 states. So in each state, the affairs of the religious matters are in the hand of individual sultans. So each state has its own religious council. We call it Islamic Religious Council. These are non-government sort of bodies, not directly government bodies. So this majlis or these councils, they are actually basically what they do is to collect zakat and whatnot, wakaf and whatnot. So even up to now, they are doing the same thing. So they have money, but being an Islamic institution, they will not be easily or simple enough for them to just put money anywhere they like, which may attract riba income. So the first priority, we recommended that the shareholders be from these councils. There are 14 states, as I said, 14 councils over in Malaysia. And then, of course, we have Tabung Haji, the Pilgrimage Fund Board. And of course, Bank Islam, when we established, we were established in 1984. Bank Islam was incorporated in 1983. So, you know, 1 year ahead of us. So they were already established. And they were supposed also to be the shareholder. But eventually, the government decided to hand over everything to Bank Islam to ensure the establishment of Takaful. So at the Bank Islam level, we follow the recommendation of the task force. Tabung Haji at that point of time did not come because they were already major shareholder in Bank Islam. So it was Bank Islam holding 51% at that time, and 49% came over from the various or the respective councils, religious Islamic councils of the various states in Malaysia. That's how the position. And then, of course, 10 years later, in 1994, 1995, something like that, we became a public company. We listed on the stock exchange. And of course, the shareholder then grew, and there were also individuals and whatnot. So that's how it started, it began. And the question was then, okay, let me tell you the operation. Because as I said, when we first started, we used the Mudarabah model of business. In other words, I give you a simple example. For example, I think in my what do you call slide there is a graph somewhere down there. If you could look into it, there is a graph. Yes. So if you can refer to the graph, we call it General Takaful Mudarabah model. So you can see there, the contract is between the company, which is the Takaful operator, and the participant. Okay, so the company, the participant will come in and participate in, say, in any of the talking general first, to cover its asset, say a house or a car or a vehicle. So he will agree to pay a certain sum of contribution, and that contribution will go into the general Takaful fund. It will go into the general Takaful fund. Then the fund, the company will not leave it idle. It will invest. It will be invested. The fund will first be invested. Then, inshallah, if it is managed properly, there'll be a profit from that investment, and that profit will then be credited back to the fund. Right? So, as I said earlier, what is the purpose of that fund? The purpose of a person participating in the Takaful product, what is the purpose? Is to cover, in case something happened to him, at least, he will be able to enjoy certain monetary benefits to cover the loss. So first, we call it operational cost of Takaful. First is the claim. And then, in the case of Takaful, it is not advisable. In fact, it is a suicide. I would say, you're killing yourself if the company does not arrange for a support from another Takaful or a re-Takaful company, which what you call as, and it is a normal business in insurance. We share the risk with another insurance entity. But there are specialist entity, we call it reinsurance. So this is international company, and big reinsurance, in fact, bigger than banking. They own bank, in fact, in Europe. So they are very big. For example, in Germany, we call it Munich Re. In Switzerland, they call it Swiss Re. So there are many reinsurance companies. So that part of the cost, we share the risk. So in other words, we pay part of the contribution that the company receives from the participant to be paid for the cover for the sharing of that risk with the Takaful or the reinsurance company concerned. And then, of course, you have to put aside a certain reserve. This is very important to have a reserve. Reserve, in the case of Takaful, will carry two parts. Number one is that reserve for unearned, unreported claim. Okay? You see what happened in business, particularly in motor. As I said, in motor business, there is a liability. There's a long tail liability. But sometimes when an accident happens, the participant would not immediately report to us. Sometimes they did not report at all. If they knock on someone and they are okay, but the other party and a third party suffers a loss, of course, it is against the law not to report. But there are cases, or there were cases, not many now, they simply go away, they didn't report. Then all of a sudden, after 1 or 2 years, we receive a claim, a legal claim from the lawyer or something like that of the third party, the grief third party, saying that they suffered a loss and one other. And of course, we have to ensure that that is properly handled. If not, the cost will escalate because it becomes a legal case, a court case, and whatnot. So these are the third party liability, which is long tail, which is unreported. So therefore, we must make sure that we have at least enough reserve to cover. If we have to pay later, then we must not pay from today's money. So the important principle is that in managing insurance business or Takaful business, to pay yesterday's loss from yesterday's money, not to pay yesterday's loss from today's money. That is the principle. So that's why I said it is important that modern management, that done professionally, is important. The modern management principles are to be upheld at all times. So the reserve is very important. Okay. So then, if, for example, in this case, say we have over a period of 1 year, we have 1,000 participants. Again, an example, a simple example. There could be 300 those participants covering their houses, fire and whatnot. Another 500 for motor vehicles. So another, say, 200 accident and whatnot. And all of them, they pay, say, $5 million of contribution. So that 5 million will go into the Takaful fund. Okay, it go into the Takaful fund. That Takaful fund will then be invested. Okay, so the investment, so 5 million after 1 year, say if the return is 10%, 500,000. So the profit of 500,000 will then be credited back to the fund. So the fund now has augmented to be 5.5 million, 5,500,000. And out of that 5,500,000, we have to pay claims. Say from 300 those taking to cover their houses, say 100 launch a claim, and say we pay 1 million. And then out of 500 motor participants, say 300 also incur claims, losses, accident, repair, and whatnot. And for example, we pay another 1 million. So now already 2 million from 5.5 million. The money now left is 3.2 million. Then the same thing for the accident group of participants. So we say, again, from 200, say 50 of them suffered an accident, and we pay another 1 million. So 3 million paid in terms of claims. All right. Then, as I said, the 5.5 million, the total fund, we paid out 3 million already. So we have left another 2.5 million. Then I mentioned earlier about the re-Takaful cost. That is the cost of running or managing of Takaful business. So that cost will be taken out into the account as a cost of the operation of Takaful. So that cost is, we have to pay re-Takaful. There are certain rates and whatnot. There is a certain way of doing it, and the rate is already more or less set up by both parties, between the cedent, which is Takaful operator, and the reinsurer or the re-Takaful operator, say 500,000. And the what you call the unreported claims reserve another 500,000. So now the total cost is 4 million. So we have a surplus of 1.5 million. That surplus will then first, in our way of doing things then, we share that because that is the profit of the business. That is the profit of the business. So since the contract is based on al-mudarabah, so therefore that is subject to the mudarabah sharing agreement. So the sharing agreement then was 60-40 or something like that. So we take 40%. So 40%, if it is 1 million left, so we take 400,000. So that is the profit, which is then credited into the shareholders fund, belongs to the company. And the balance of 600,000 for the participant. So the participant will be entitled to share of that 600,000. But who are the participants? That is the condition. Participants who do not incur claim. That means participants who do not, they are not claimants. That's what we practice. So as an example, at that time, a participant would enjoy a return of around 25%. You know, they pay 1,000 at the end of the year, they will receive 250 Malaysian ringgit back in terms of the profit sharing or the surplus that they earn or that they get or they enjoy from the Takaful company at that time. So going back to what Professor Ahmad Ibrahim said, enjoy free cover, yeah, if every year the amount of contribution is 1,000, and we assume that every year, and if there is no claim for that particular participant, you will get back 250,000, and every year after, and then on the fourth year, he will get back 1,000 that he had paid. So the fifth year contribution or the fifth year participation, you will enjoy more or less free. So that's what the meaning of free cover that was stated by Allah Yarham Professor Ahmad Ibrahim. That how it started in Malaysia. And it went well. In the case of shareholders, they were also enjoying the dividends because, as I said, we make profits and we pay dividend to the shareholders. That was until I left the company. I left the industry in Malaysia. For 20 years in Malaysia, that was the model that we adopted. But somehow or other, now they change. I don't know, because, of course, Sharia allows. Sharia allows. I must say that we put up to the Sharia because there are now other models, they call it wakalah model. So the wakalah model simply means that the company acts as your agent, as the participant agent. Therefore, the company, the operator, will be entitled to a certain fee. So the fee is deducted from your contribution upfront. You ask me why? I don't know, because probably the company can ensure that they'll get the return quickly. That may be the reason. But my criticism is only that it shows that there is no difference between between insurance and Takaful. That's what the perception now. If you look around, that's exactly happening in the case of Malaysia. I mean, I'm talking about Malaysia. But then in other jurisdictions, in Indonesia, the same thing. Because it is probably they think that it's quite difficult to operate the mudarabah model there because we need agency. So agency means we have to use the contribution to pay to the agent. So they will have to deduct upfront. Therefore, it is better for us to adopt or to use the wakalah model rather than the mudarabah model. So that is in a nutshell how we operated in Malaysia. But what I would like to stress is that probably before I conclude is that we had the credibility right from the beginning. Number one, because we have the law, the act, the Takaful Act 1984. Of course, now it is under what you call it, Bafia or something like that. Islamic banking, something that no, Islamic banking, Islamic finance. Sorry, Islamic finance act, something like that. Yes. So so they combine under one now for banking as well as for insurance, if I'm not mistaken. So it is not like before. I mean, before still the law is more tighter now. It's better now. It's stronger now. Of course, over the years, through experience, we improve it. But then they have reviewed the thing and they have a different name. But what I'm saying is that right from beginning, we have the law to govern the operation of Takaful, like Islamic banking earlier also. So that makes us more credible. And as a result of that, I remember during those days, I was 20 years heading the Takaful company here. I met a lot of people coming from all over the world. I remember from South Africa. I went to South Africa, tried to establish there. From Bangladesh. So, they were so excited to see how we will be able to help them. And alhamdulillah, in a small way, I think I have done a little bit to bring Takaful to the world. So I think I have covered enough in terms of the experience that we went through in establishing Takaful in Malaysia. And I'm also happy to see that Takaful has flourished in most of the world, particularly the Islamic countries. And I hope that they will continue well and prosper for the sake of the Ummah. Thank you, Dato. If there is any, we can share our, our experience, and if there is any clarification and whatnot, if I can attempt to answer, I have honor to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dato Fadli, for sharing all your experiences in the field of Takaful. I feel that I was in the 80s together with you to share all your problems in the setting up of the company, which is not easy for the young people who just left the university to think of all these problems. In setting up a company which never established in the country, especially the Islamic system. So it has to be approved by the cabinet, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, correct.
It was brought to the prime minister, and later on it brought to the cabinet. The support from the government is very much needed for the establishment. And of course, we need a leader, the people who understand the industry. As you mentioned, there were not many people, not many Muslim who are in the industry. I think you are very fortunate. Yeah, you are very fortunate to have this kind of experience when you were in England and you were in the Malaysian insurance company and so on. So this kind of thing, I think we have learned a lot from you. So I think I don't want to analyze more. We have about 20 minutes to 30 minutes maybe, depending on the number of people who would like to ask questions. So you can ask question by raising hand. Sister Juaria will let you speak.
Sorry, Dato, to unmute, Dato. Sorry. Unmute yourself, Dato, unmute yourself.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, you can raise your hand. You can raise your hand. Sister Juaria will unmute you, and of course you can also ask question to the chat box. I don't know. I'm not sure whether Dato Fadli was born in the BC, the year of BC. Can look at the chat box.
I think I would like to add. I missed something just now.
Yeah.
I think it's important. When we did the study, when the task force did the study, First, I must must say that it is not a feasibility study. It is not a feasibility study because a feasibility study normally would have to be compared with one already established.
Yeah,
So it was a try and error sort of study. The gut feeling is that, inshallah, Allah is with you, is that we say we can do it. And Takaful, I think, can be survived in Malaysia. So see, as simple as that. So it is not a feasibility study. If that, maybe there are participants who wants to know whether it is a feasibility study. No, it is not a feasibility study. Thank you.
Yeah. We don't have the models, we don't have the law, especially in other countries who do not have the law, they cannot establish.
Yes,
So
there.
proceed, our brothers and sisters who would like to ask question.
Please.
There's one person here, Abdullahi.
Yes.
He has been waiting to in the group since I think about.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Yes.
assalam wa rahmatullah.
First of all, I would like to appreciate for wonderful presentation, for wonderful session. It's for us, it's honor to have a father of Islamic Takaful industry today in our session. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu fikum. So I am from Kyrgyzstan. It's a Central Asia, and I
Yes.
established this year the Takaful window, the first Takaful window in legislation level in CIS countries, among the CIS countries. And we are apply a hybrid model, Wakala Wakf model.
Okay.
And my question is related to agency fees. In your example, you show that in Malaysia, you use 10% as an agency fees from Takaful Operator Fund, right? And nowadays, it's in Kyrgyzstan, it's very difficult to compete with conventional insurance because they provide much more percentage of agency fees. How do you what is your recommendation? How can we apply our marketing strategy as a first established Takaful window company? Thank you.
This is not a real Sharia question. It is more of a business, decision that you have to make. Since you adopt the hybrid model, therefore, you can charge a certain fee from the contribution to pay your agency cost. You said just now in Malaysia 10%. I'm not sure whether that is the correct or not. I think more than that. But the point is that under that model, you are allowed to charge or to deduct a certain percentage from the contribution paid by the participant to pay to your agents. Probably because we tried in Malaysia, as I said, when I started it, we tried. We use the shareholders fund to pay part of the agency to the we do call agents, we call it special executive. You know, we pay them a salary, and then a basic salary, a baseline salary, and that salary coming from the shareholders fund. But in your case, if you can do that, use that base salary to pay from your shareholders fund and to top it up from the from the contribution based on your hybrid model. Probably you can do that, because I think it is important if you want to survive and that you are not seen to be like the insurance company. Your image is your image, your first image, the initial image. To begin with, you must begin with a different set of outlook, not the same like your conventional brother. If you know that the conventional brother has a lot of problems, why should you still keep on emulating them? Try to do a different way of altogether. That's one. And number two, I think, which is also important, that you must honor every year to be able to share the surplus. And if you could share that surplus and you can make it visible, show to the world that you mean what you are doing, then inshallah, I think you will grow. For example, as I told you, in Maldives, I think they adopt the same thing, the company that I'm still on the board, this hybrid model. And I was on the board, I'm still on the board. I always insist upon that, pay and publicize and show to the world that you actually meant what you say when you share surplus. Because the conventional does not do that. So that will what do you call give confidence and credibility to you. I think that's very important. You haven't started yet in Kyrgyzstan? You haven't started in Kyrgyzstan yet. I was in 2023, I was in Uzbekistan. And inshallah, Uzbekistan will have what do you call Takaful soon, inshallah. I don't know whether there is anyone from Uzbekistan or not among us.
I am from Kyrgyzstan, and we also traveled to Uzbekistan, but Uzbekistan, they haven't legislation base. They haven't any law, but we implemented. In Kyrgyzstan, we implemented 2006 with the help of Islamic Development Bank. And
the ICD, the
so
ICD, is it the ICD? Islamic Bank, the ICD group, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
right.
And
yeah, I know. Yes, okay, all right. Yeah, I
dear
hope
Professor,
that,
I have another question.
Yes,
I have
please.
another question. When you use Mudaraba model, you invest in different kinds of businesses, right? And
Yep.
can you tell about what kind of businesses it?
Okay, number one. Number one, when we first started in Malaysia, as I said, there is the law, there is the regulation. All right. So in Malaysia at that time, the conventional is a statutory requirement for any conventional insurance at that time to invest in what they call as treasury bills, TBs, issued by the government. And if I'm not mistaken, during those days, 25%. 25% of the fund has to be in treasury bills. It's a security, strong and whatnot, government. But treasury bills, as you know, is not Sharia compliant. So when we established Takaful, right from day one, there is the law said that we cannot be involved in treasury bills. So what we have, government in Malaysia, that's where I think the government must be involved. They they have this government government investment GIC, government investment certificate, which is Sharia compliant. It's a government papers, like a treasury bill, but during those days, or like you have sukuks now. So, but then issued by the government. So we were allowed to invest 20% at that time. Then other than that, we work closely with banks. For example, banks would require, Islamic banks, I'm talking about Islamic banks. Islamic banks would require a fund. They may not have enough fund. So we have syndicated financing with them. We participated with them. We buy properties. So we house our officers and whatnot, in those properties that we bought. And we opened up branches all over Malaysia. So we bought most of it in good places, in attractive locations. We bought properties. Essentially, those are that. And of course, we put money in the bank. But those are the things that we undertook. Thank you.
Any more questions in the chat box? Can you, Sister Joria, can you read the question in the chat box?
Yes, Dato. Sure.
Yeah.
We have many questions for in the chat box. Let me find from the first one. Okay. The question from Afrad. Yeah. He asked, could this how can the balance between the element be maintained and audited? Okay, from Maraj Ahmad. The question number one, he asked, what criteria are used to determine if a company is compliant, non-compliant, or under review? Is there a publicly available set of guideline for the status? Dato' Fadli, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, but the question is not very clear. But if I can understand from the question, is that how could we determine a Takaful operator is Sharia compliant or not? Basically, is that the question?
Yeah, I think basically.
Basically, of course, you must have one, the Sharia Council. The Sharia Council must be independent. Sharia Council is independent of the board. So in Malaysia, Sharia Council must be the appointment of Sharia Council has to get the approval of the authority, but the regulator. So you have, and they have their period. I'm not sure now, but during those days, every 3 years, and of course renewable. So it is not for life. It's not perpetual. That's one. And of course, then you have the auditor. So you have to do nowadays, all companies are run on base risk audit system. So you have risk audit or auditing for computer, for IIIT. You have audit for the whole company, finance and whatnot, the operation of the company and whatnot, the corporate entity. And then you have another one for Takaful or Islamic banking, the Sharia audit. So you have to do it regularly. And then at the same time, in the case of Malaysia, I know, and some jurisdiction that I'm involved, the regulatory authority also would come and inspect you. So, you must make sure that what you do is Sharia compliant. And of course, before you do that, to ensure that you are proactive, any issue, any project, any proposal, or any plan that you want to launch, that you want to introduce, the company wants to introduce, first you have to do a proper paper, then you have to deliberate it, present it to your Sharia Council, apart from your board. From board, of course, it is important to get the board approved from the business perspective, but you must also get the decision of your Sharia Council, whether it is Sharia compliant or not. So if all those are complied, all those followed, I don't see how you are not Sharia compliant. And it is advisable for you to check the operation yearly by your Sharia audit. So there must be an auditor for your operation on the company, on the corporate side. There must also be a Sharia auditor.
And
Thank
also, Dato',
Yes.
one more question from Brother Abdul Rahim. his question is, in Wakaf model, why the contributor entitled to surplus profit when their entitled intention is for charity?
As I said, the charity actually coming when there is a claim of other fellow participant, then you agree to donate. And then at the end of the year, if the business has surplus, so that surplus will then be shared with the participant. So to me, it's nothing wrong. Um, that is the business of Takaful. You know, there is surplus, we enjoy that surplus. But if there is a deficit because of big losses suffered by our fellow participant, Alhamdulillah, then we sincerely agree that we donate and help them. So I don't think that's against Sharia. In fact, Sharia probably, I think, appreciates that. Thank you.
There is many question in the chat box, but we have leave only 3 minutes. So
I think
maybe we have to pick one or two more questions
one or
only.
two more is okay.
Okay.
It's a break for half an hour, Dato Fadli. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question from Sister Bibi Jan. Salam Dato, thanks for the sharing. Will there be any new initiative from Malaysian to start global wakaf to have our global ummah? That question number 1.
I can't speak on behalf of my Wakaf fraternity, but I know I have a friend who is involved on the what they call the global Wakaf forum or global Wakaf sort of operation, and that question should be directed to him. Perhaps Dato' Jamil should organize another conference like this on Wakaf, and you may invite him to speak. You may invite him to speak. Okay, I will introduce him to you if when the time comes.
Maybe another question.
Inshallah. So the question from Imran Arshad, he asking, is it mandatory for all compliant to be Sharia compliant in Malaysia, or it's still volunteer?
It is a must. It is compulsory that we have to follow the Sharia requirement, unless it's a new thing, and we will not be able to get support to ensure that it is Sharia compliant. I give an example. Perhaps the question that to me you should ask is that when you first started, there was no Sharia what call the Takaful was not Sharia compliant. There was no Takaful operation which is truly Sharia. True, there was no. You see, when we started, we have to rely on the Takaful or support from conventional, international, reputed reinsurance services. For example, I give you the name Munich Re. These are world reputed big, and the broker is in New York. I forgot the name already. We used to deal with it. Yes, we discussed it at great length at the Sharia Council. Takaful, as I earlier mentioned, is a must. If a Takaful company or Takaful operator do not want or does not want to have Takaful because of the fact that at that point of time, there is no reinsurance or Takaful that is compliant with Sharia, then we are committing suicide. I don't think we can last even 1 month. Give you an example. When you cover a motor vehicle or say we don't ride plane at the time, aircraft we don't ride. we cover, say, one house or one big building complex, shopping complexes, and one motor vehicle, private motor vehicle, not a passenger carrying vehicle, say, for example. And how much did we charge the contribution? Maybe 2,000-3,000 ringgit Malaysia or 2,000-3,000 US dollar. But if there is a claim, say there is a big fire to the complex or to the house, the loss could reach millions. So if you don't have a Takaful support at that time, where are you going to get the money to pay the claims? Even you may have to use all your shareholders' fund, and maybe not enough. So if that happens, and without a Takaful support, you are committing suicide. And at the end of the day, Takaful service cannot sustain. And who is to be blamed? We are to be blamed. Muslims are to be blamed. So we discussed it. It is a must. We have to have it. So, but then at that point of time, there was none Takaful based on Sharia compliance. So we have to rely on the conventional, established, well-reputed reinsurance services overseas, internationally. Based on the fact that that's the reason why the Sharia allows it, but there are conditions. So that's the reason why I want to show to them that it's very important that Takaful, and you will not be able to get coming back to the Sharia compliant. As I said, of course we have to be Sharia compliant in all aspects, except when we will not be able to get that services to ensure that we will follow the Sharia. Thank you.
Yeah, Dato. There is a brother. There is the hand. Abimbola. Can you unmute yourself? Brother Abimbola Ismail. Can you unmute yourself? You have a question? Okay. And another brothers, I'm not sure brothers or sister. Nanang Roshidin. Can you unmute yourself? You have a question?
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, sorry, I'm on my way.
This muted now. Nana, please unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmute myself. Thank you very much, Dato. I'm really sorry I couldn't open my camera because I'm driving right now. But I really
I can hear you.
appreciate
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, I really appreciate your explanation. Yes, I'm
Where are you
new to
from?
this, and I'm from Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clear, and I'm really happy that you explained your experience about this Takaful. However, I didn't get any explanation related to the insurance associated with the health insurance. I think you keep mentioning several times about the motor insurance or the property insurance. Is this Takaful also is health insurance part of a good areas where the Takaful can benefit from it? This is one. Number two, because right now we are working on the wakaf for developing, let's say, the hospital. So hospital based on wakaf fund. I think if during the operation of this hospital based on the wakaf fund, the Takaful can also work in insuring people who come to the hospital. I think it will be a very good match in terms of the operation. But if you can kindly explain to us Takaful in this sector, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Dato.
Very simple, short. Health is just a product. So therefore, Takaful can provide what we call as medical and health Takaful products, which we have. Of course, whether operator wants to introduce the product or not, to provide and offer the product or not, is a business. It's a business. The only thing that you must know the business, because normally the claims are fairly high for health product. And if you are not careful, a lot of abuses. In particularly the group product. I don't want to go into detail. A lot of abuses. You know, those are not covered will also go to the hospital. And when the hospital knew that this particular person has a Takaful cover, they will increase the what you call the medical cost. So it is a business decision. It's not a Sharia issue. You mentioned about wakaf. In fact, to me, wakaf is a Takaful product. You see, Takaful can offer a wakaf product. Then the participant can, assign the benefit to an institution like the hospital. So I take this Takaful product for the purpose of assigning the benefits if I die or if the period of Takaful is matured, then whatever proceeds from the Takaful will then be will be assigned. The word assign may not be proper to the bodies, to the hospital, so that the hospital can use the money or the proceeds to pay for whatever medical costs. Then you mention to whom? Or to the general public. No, that's not a problem. So what you do now, this is marketing. This is a marketing operation rather than a Sharia or business operation, you know. So the body concerned, the Takaful operator will have to sit down together with the hospital or with any institution on how they would able to use Takaful to help each other to promote the business for both of the institutions. It's no problem. It can be used.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much, Dato. I think one last question because we have passed of the time. From Brother Nasir, you can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Doctor, also an associate prof. In the course of the discussion, you mentioned that Takaful, you talk about the claims. So my question goes, I want to find out, is there any specific timeline, as in regarding the Sharia, for the claim to be paid, if there is, based on Sharia, maybe like 1 week or 2 weeks?
Oh, you're talking about your claim. Where are you from? You have muted yourself. I want to know which country you from.
I'm from Nigeria. We have a lot of Takaful and more are coming.
So you know Nur Takaful? Have you heard about Nur Takaful? Huh?
I know Nur, Jais Takaful. We have Kram, we have Salam.
Yeah, Nur Takaful, I was involved in its incorporation.
MashaAllah.
Okay, anyway, number one, usually the guideline is set by the regulator, right?
Yes.
So if there is a claim, okay, first one, individual Takaful operators should have its own SOP. You know, they should have a what you call a claim guideline. You know, how many days and whatnot. Okay. And then at the same time, that guideline must be approved by Sharia. The SOP must be tabled to the Sharia Council. So therefore, that Sharia should be well versed in terms of the timeline required for a claim to be settled. Yes, they have. But in jurisdiction like Malaysia, it is not only internally you have, but the regulator also set certain times. All right, and there are certain procedure, you know, in Malaysia. For example, in Malaysia, because I was involved, I used to be board of the company that is concerned. You see, in the case of Malaysia, example, I don't know Nigeria, although I was on the board of No Takaful for a while, but you know, at that time it was early. What happened is that if the participant met with an accident, say the worst one is the motor accident. So if it is not injured, nothing happened to him, it's only his motor vehicle is what you call damaged, he will have to report within 24 hours to the insurance company. You have to report. But now, modern technology, very simple, you can call. Then with all the gadgets and whatnot, you can show the picture and whatnot, you just WhatsApp. Of course, there is a form. And then the company will then accept the report, will look at it, and they will engage an adjuster to determine the loss. But in Malaysia, there is a body called MRC, a company which provides claim system. That claim system will also determine in terms. I was involved in the company. I was on the board of that company until late last year. It was 20 over years. See, the company will then determine what will be the cost of the items or the parts damaged and what is the cost to be repaired. And then it only also will determine the cost of repair and the time of repair. So we have all this in Malaysia. So want to say that is very Sharia compliant. So whatever modern principles, as I said, apply to ensure good governance, that is strongly upheld by Sharia. Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Second question.
Good morning.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think any more,
I
Sharia?
think-
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. This from brother Abdul Bola.
I think last one. It must be last one.
Can be
Yeah,
last one because Dato has some other program.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Now, my name is Abimbola Ismail from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian.
Yes. Okay, carry on.
Yes, my question goes like, when there's one brother that was talking about Wakfu, so, and he said, okay, Wakfu, when those that distributed this Wakfu, so when the market, maybe the something is much, so how will they entitled to such? Okay, why we did entitled to surplus profit? So when the initial intention is for charity, but my question is that for that person, so for the one that contributed something in Wakfu, that particular person, is it not when we contributed anything in Wakfu, that thing is like when you are giving a charity? So it means that a person is not allowed to go back to what he has given in charity, or to take in what he has given as charity, or to take back, or maybe to dwell in something that he has given as charity. So how does that one comply with Islamic injunctions? So that is my question. That is the first question I have. That okay, can someone that has given something in charity still benefit from that same thing? So that is my first question. The second question goes that, okay, as a student of Islamic finance, there are something that okay, you have to put into practice that can make people benefit from you in your environment. So what, due to your own experience and your vast experiences throughout the world, and you have worked in many places, so what exactly advice you can give to a student of Islamic finance? Okay, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that, just to make people to benefit from you in your society. So that is my second question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I don't think I can answer your question on the WAC. You better ask a Sharia scholar then. Whether eventually as a contributor you can use that. I have already explained to you just now that essentially, you are not giving back, or you are not receiving back the surplus of your own money. It is a surplus of the operation. That's all. In other words, the company wants to give back the money to you. That as simple as that. So I think in detail, you better ask a proper Sharia scholar. I'm not a Sharia scholar. On the second question, I cannot understand what you say. It was not very clear.
I said that a student of Islamic finance. So what maybe you have many experiences. What that person, there are some things that okay you can do to benefit, that will be a practical aspect that okay people can benefit from you in your society.
Speak
So
slowly,
maybe
please.
okay.
Speak slowly, please. And don't not too long. What? I don't understand what you're asking.
Okay, for a student of Islamic finance.
That has been answered, Brother Abim Bola.
Yes,
Okay, thank you
I'm
very
with
much.
you.
I think Dr. Fadli has given his views on this. Thank you very much, Dato. So I'm sure all the participants benefited a lot from your 1.5 hours lecture. And inshallah, if we have more time in the future, if Dato has time, inshallah, we will invite him to this kind of program, inshallah. So thank you very much, Dato, on behalf of
Thank you.
the participants, on behalf of the IIIT is in Southeast Asia. And we end our meeting with Tasbih Kifarah in Surah Al-As. Inshallah.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Wallahu
وعمل الصالح وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Thank you,
وبركاته.
Dato. And after this, your student will be giving a lecture. Brother, inshallah. So,
Assalamualaikum, Dato Fadli.
yes, your student is coming.
Is that Joof?
Joof,
Assalamualaikum.
yeah, Muhammad Joof.
Oh,
Wah, Dato Muhammad Fadli. Assalamualaikum.
In
why you
Gambia.
have disappeared from me?
I'm so happy to see you. You are looking much younger, sir.
Now I want to see you personally. You came over to Malaysia, so you want to see me. Huh? I knew you were in Malaysia.
He can meet the Prime Minister only as his level
Okay.
now.
All right. All the best, Joof. All the best. Huh? Thanks, Dato.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dato.
Okay,
Thank you
okay.
so much. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Dato.
Okay. Right.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. So we have a break, Brother Joe, for about 10 minutes. What's the time now? About 10 minutes. Inshallah, we will
Yes, okay.
begin your sessions at 11 o'clock, inshallah. So in the meantime,
All
you
right.
can prepare your slides, everything, check your what do you call it?
I
Your
will.
connection. Okay. So,
I will do that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
okay.
I'll
Thank
do
you
that.
very much. Well, I
Thank you,
woke
sir.
you up at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Absolutely, yes, 2:49 now.
Brothers and sisters, Brother Joof will be speaking to us in very early in the morning in Gambia. It's about 3 a.m. now. So inshallah, see you in another 10 minutes, inshallah.
Enjoy your break. Thank you, Dato. Thank you.
Okay, so, Brother Joof, are you ready? Are you ready, Brother Joof?
Yes, I am, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah, we start, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are going to start with our second session today. So we are very fortunate today. We have another expert in Takaful from Africa. We have many African brothers here attending your lecture, Brother Mamodou. Some of them are attending through Facebook, and some might be through the YouTube channel. So the thing is that the time difference between here and Africa, about 5 hours. Is that, Brother Joe? So, brothers and sisters,
8 hours.
8 hours. Brothers and sisters, the time in Gambia now is about 3 a.m. in the morning. So, Alhamdulillah, Brother Joe is taking the initiative to meet all of you, inshallah, from all over the world. Just to introduce him, his name is known as Brother Mamodou Joof, Musa Joof.
Mamodou Musa.
Okay, of course, he is the man in the Takaful industry in West Africa. And he knows Dato Fadli very well, and Dato Fadli knows him because during the establishment of Takaful in Gambia, Dato Fadli traveled to Africa with Brother Joof and to attend many meetings before the establishment. Brother Joof's name is known in business people, in finance and Takaful in West Africa and other countries in the Muslim world now. He was the founder and developer of Takaful in Gambia and the West Africa. He obtained his master's degree in management from International Islamic University Malaysia in 2005 with an impressive dissertation on Takaful, a proposed model of Islamic insurance or Takaful in Gambia under my supervision at that time. Prior to his master's degree at IUM, he also held a diploma in insurance in 1991 from West African Insurance Institute and held a senior position in the conventional insurance in Gambia. I still remember during his stay in Malaysia, you remember Brother Joof, when the president of Gambia at that time visited Malaysia as a Gambian student in Malaysia, he visited the president at the hotel and he expressed his ambition to set up an Islamic insurance in Gambia. The president responded particularly and told him to meet the president when he went back to Gambia. That was the story from Joof to me. That was the starting point. He continued to I continued to guide him at the time, since he got a very high ambition to set up a company, by sending him to meet Dato Fadli at the Takaful Malaysia and have a month's attachment at Takaful Malaysia before he left for Gambia. But this young man at that time, not now, this young man was very ambitious. He returned to Gambia and met the president. That was where his career in Islamic insurance started. He became the founder of Takaful in Gambia and fully guided by the teacher Dato Fadli. Now, Joof not only the key person of Takaful in Gambia, but he is also an important man in the West African Takaful. He received many awards nationally and internationally. The latest, he received the award of Most Outstanding Community Insurance Service from the African Outstanding Professional on the 4th of April 2025. So he also authored
Recording in progress.
a book, Evolutions and Revolution of Takaful in West Africa and beyond, and launched on the 24th of November 2023. It's about 2 years ago. I think without much introduction, I would like to invite Brother Mamodou Joof to give his lecture for 1.5 hours. Tafadhal, Brother Mamodou Joof.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Thank you very much, my mentor, Dato Jamil Usman. I remain very much grateful and proud of you when you have been the backbone of my desire to establish Takaful in Africa. And yes, Alhamdulillah, we have come a long way, but we are still driven by passion to continue. We want to be involved in the establishment of Takaful in all African countries that don't have Takaful. Thank you for the opportunity. As my supervisor, Dato Jamil Usman, said, he did not only supervise me to embark on writing on Takaful, but he did the arrangements for me to visit all the universities that are doing Takaful in Malaysia, and he also made the arrangement for me to meet Dato Muhammad Fadli, who just left. I went to Takaful Malaysia at the time when it was the biggest in Asia. I don't know whether it is still the biggest. So I had the opportunity and privilege to be attached to all the departments, and somewhere before the end of my attachment, they will say, you see that short man coming from Gambia, he's coming to your department tomorrow. Be ready, he has too many questions. Yes, I had too many questions at the time because I belonged to the conventional world where I worked for 14 years from clerk all the way to manager. So coming to Malaysia and meeting this called Takaful Islamic insurance, I said, no, it cannot be possible. What the hell does Islam have to do with insurance? Insurance is a profit-making venture. So why Islam? And then they said to me, no, this is Sharia compliant. So out of that inquisitive and jealousness to protect the conventional world that I belong to, I decided to go on practical attachment at Takaful Malaysia and had all the questions that you could think of to ask before conviction. Yes, I thought it was too good to be true. Something was hidden. But actually, at the end of my exposure or practical exposure, I was convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that Takaful is not only to do with Islam, but more to do with fairness in doing the business of insurance. So I came back to my supervisor, Dato Jamil Usman, who is still who he is, very much passionate about helping in the development and spreading of Takaful. I said, yes, I want to go all out to do my dissertation in Takaful, but also to take it upon myself, a big challenge to establish Takaful in Africa when I get back. This Dato Muhammad Fadli, who left when I ended my practical exposure in Malaysia, gave me a challenge. Joof, I'm convinced you can establish Takaful in West Africa, and I want you to take that challenge. And I said, yes, sir, Dato, I will try my best. This is the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and is the foundation of all this that I'm into. And we continue to say the slogan, Malaysia Boleh, Malaysia is good. Indeed, yes, it's very true. It's among definitely the best countries that you could go to and purify your Islam, increase your deen, and then come back very confident about Islamic finance. This is actually the dissertation I did, a proposed model for Islamic insurance Takaful in the Gambia by Joof Musa, International Islamic University of Malaysia, under the supervision of Dato Jamil Usman, the organizer of this program. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful, Dato. I am always grateful. I'm happy to be associated with all that you're doing in life. As he rightly said, I was privileged to have met the former president of the Gambia at the Sheraton Hotel in Malaysia. And indeed, yes, by culture and tribe, our tribes are cousins. So I can say anything to him, he can say anything to me without anybody taking offense. That is a rich culture in Africa. So when I came, I threw praises at him, but said to him, you have actually destined to rule the continent, but you cannot rule me because I am Serer and you're Jola, you are not fit to rule me. Then we laughed over the matter, and I said, he said, why are you here? I said, I'm doing my master's here. But honestly, Ichi, I found something too good to be left behind. I said, you're bluffing that you're 95% Muslim country, but how come you don't have Islamic insurance? I only heard of it when I got here. And he said, how does it work? And I gave him a full explanation of how Takaful works. And actually, he was very, very much happy to hear that there is such. And he gave me an amount of money and said, go and do everything possible to come home with everything that is relevant, and we will support you. Yes, he is right. You can see right before you that when I came, I sent him a copy of my dissertation, and I was also privileged by attending Bank Negara, Central Bank of Malaysia, the Islamic Finance Division, still under the arrangement of Dato Jamil Usman. And I was privileged to have been given a copy of the regulation of Takaful, which I carried home with me. So I sent to the office of the president a copy of my book and also a copy of the regulation. And this is actually what he used. This was my copy to send to government offices that were relevant to say, go through this draft and come up with the right one for Gambia, for Mr. Joof to kickstart Takaful in the Gambia. Yes, this task force committee that was set up was actually chaired by late Brother Mamodou of the Central Bank, and they started in March 2005 all the way to December 2006, when it was presented to the House of Parliament, the draft, and the Act of 2003 was amended to accommodate Takaful in the Gambia. So Gambia became the first country in West Africa to have an act on Takaful, and hence I started in 2008. If we come to look at the history of Takaful, we're saying in 1979, the Islamic Insurance Company of Sudan started the first Islamic insurance system, Takaful. And we are saying by the mid we're saying by the mid-90s, there were 7 Takaful companies in Sudan, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Jordan, with the industry experience of high growth rates, growing from 1.384 billion in 2000 2004 to 5.318 billion in 2008. The global Takaful market size reached 36.57 billion in 2024 and projected to reach 75.26 billion by 2033. So coming back to history, yes, we come to say there is.
In 2003, a Gambian studying management in Malaysia had a lofty dream.
My dream was to establish a Sharia-compliant insurance business in my country.
In a country where laws regulating Islamic insurance do not exist, this dream seemed far-fetched.
There was need for Central Bank of the Gambia to come up with new regulations and guidelines to be passed in Parliament for this to happen.
Under Takaful, the insured is a partner in business entitled to profit sharing at the end of every business year.
Takaful clients, known as participants, provide the funds on which we operate. As such, they are entitled to profit sharing at the end of the year.
West Africa Takaful is Mamodou Joof's current initiative.
West Africa Takaful, covering the sub-region, intends to be a market leader in the provision of religiously compliant insurance products and services.
West Africa Takaful on Keraba Avenue. In 2003,
Okay.
a Gambian studying
So from here, as you can see, that was just a brief of what I had to do. And yes, from there, I'm sorry, we are getting excited about this. So as we say, that was just kind of a bit of a history to start Takaful in the Gambia. And we continue on history. We say the first international consulting team by Yang Horoma Dato Mohammed Fadli, who just left the lectures now, included Brother Abdul Kudus, Sister Salmija, the wife, Sister Tupuan Sabria, the wife of Dato Mohammed Fadli, brothers Zulkifli and one Zamri, who is currently very active in the Nur Takaful of Malaysia. This was a team that came to the Gambia. I invited them to come and join me. The team stayed and trained the staff of Takaful Gambia for 14 solid days at Sunswing Hotel in the Gambia. I really miss them when I had to do it all again without them in Zambia when I established Phoenix of Zambia Takaful. Remember, we started Takaful Gambia in 2008. By 2014, 6 years later, unpleasantly, I had challenges and had to leave the company to operate in my absence with my shares. And I went on international appointment to Zambia to establish the first Takaful window in Zambia for Phoenix Takaful. Phoenix is an insurance company, conventional, that's operating in 9 countries in that part of South Africa, including Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Kenya, and all these, their companies, they wanted to have a Takaful window. So I got there in 2014. And they're 14 million in population as opposed to my 2 million population in Gambia. But by Allah's guidance, they are 95% also non-Muslims. But with the support of Allah, I was able to establish the Takaful, Phoenix Takaful window successfully. And in 2016, I went to the World Takaful Forum in Dubai, and I was attending as a speaker. And this is where I got contacted by the directors of Jais Takaful, and I had to go back to Zambia and come back to Nigeria for an interview to establish Jais Takaful, one of the first companies in Nigeria. Actually, when I had to start in Nigeria, it's all through God's help, really, because we're now looking at the giant of Africa to over 200 million population. And I was privileged to have been invited when the regulations for Takaful was being reviewed in Nigeria. I flew from Gambia to join them. And with the Minister of Finance, I was on the high table, reviewing the Takaful regulations for Nigeria. But little did I know that that same regulation was going to be the regulation I have to work under when I came back in 2016 to establish Jais Takaful. Yes, experience is all. I had to poach staff from conventional companies, bring them to a hotel called Taubo Hotel, and invited university professors and professionals when I conducted the staff training for Jais Takaful PLC. So we're coming here. This slide should have been presented earlier. This is the Takaful Act for Gambia. And we are saying so far with that establishment of Jais Takaful, I came back to the Gambia in 2019 to establish the second Takaful called West Africa Takaful. So if you look at the board there, I started with Takaful Gambia. It's a big company now, and then moved to Zambia to establish Phoenix of Zambia Takaful window. Then from Phoenix, I came to Nigeria to establish Jais Takaful before coming home towards the end of 2019 to establish West Africa Takaful. We touched a little bit about the definitions so as to continue. It says, as defined in the Section 2 of the Takaful Act of 1984, Takaful is nothing but a scheme based on brotherhood, solidarity, and mutual assistance, which provides for mutual financial aid and assistance to participants in case of need, where the participants mutually agree to contribute for that purpose. Clear definition. All it's saying is that it is promoting people to coming together for having been exposed to same risk. Let's say motor insurance. We all are privileged to own vehicles. But when we drive from one destination to the other, we are actually exposed to getting involved in accidents. If you had to take a loan from your bank, let's say 1 million ringgit Malaysian to buy your vehicle, and you go to Takaful and join Takaful for a period of 12 months, this facility you took from the bank, you are paying for 3 years. And along the line, you get involved in an accident and the vehicle is destroyed beyond repairs. That does not stop you from having to pay the bank. So in your life, you are saying, I have this facility to pay. How will I manage to get another vehicle? In the old times, they will say, go to insurance. Your friends and family will say, go and insure your vehicle so that you are transferring your risk to the insurance company. When they say to you, the value of your vehicle is 1 million, we're asking you to pay 20,000. When you give them 20,000, they give you a piece of paper that they call insurance. That piece of paper, whether it is called Peter, Paul, or Muhammad or Abdullah, is still nothing but a piece of paper. It's not worth the 20,000 you have given them. And yet still, come the end of the 12 months, all they will say to you is, you are a good client. We will now rebate or discount the 20,000 by 15%, no claim discount. You're asking me to pay again? I left your office after 365 days. I didn't come back to you. I'm coming for the renewal of the contract. You are asking me to pay again? Come on, it has never been fair. So, but then to say, I live in this Silango and we all are privileged to own vehicles. They go to insure their vehicles. You don't insure yours because you say Islam does not support insurance. Come a time that so many vehicles are involved in accidents, you see your neighbors go to bring new vehicles and you're asking yourself, how come they are able to buy new vehicles when I'm struggling using commercial transport to move about? They tell you they're insured, they were insured, and their insurance companies have compensated them. Excuse me. Now you say, oh my God, I could not insure mine because I'm a Muslim. No, we are saying ever since mankind, Islam would never deprive you of anything that is of good. We are saying God would always say, this is halal, this is haram. Wherever something is not permissible, there is something by it that is permissible. And therefore, it was meant for Muslims to go and do a research to come up with something that will be equally beneficial to those insurance companies. So it became a solution after a research that you can do something similar to insurance, but called Takaful, where people are coming together for mutual benefit. You are now insuring 5,000 vehicles. At the end of the year, only 100 got involved in incidents. They've been paid from the pool. And whatever surplus or profit you are looking at the pool, the company or shareholders should not take it. It's not fair. It's not theirs. The contributions or premiums were taken from people, and therefore, if there is anything to go by profit, they need to be considered. And even the less privileged, who have nothing to think about insurance, they have nothing to insure. They're thinking of their square meals, but yet still let them wish Takaful well, because at the end of the year, it's the only system that comes back to knock at the doors of needy and give them zakat. For every 1,000 of the profit, you are considering, for every 1,000, 25 units are put aside for the needy. So that it's so beautiful. Takaful is for all. And that was my convincing point that actually motivated me to venture into it to the depth that I'm in today. I established or started Takaful Gambia in 2008. By 2010, we are already paying zakat to the needy. The first zakat I took to the National Hospital of Gambia in the form of bed sheets, towels, and all that is needed for patients. Now, this next zakat we gave out to schools, including a Catholic school, where each school we selected 8 needy students and give them a scholarship. By the 3rd year, we took a consignment of rice, food items to the provinces because the farmers suffered a flood. And the next zakat after that, we brought in widows who have lost their breadwinners and have large families. So we are able to assist. So that is just to say, endlessly, you can go on and on to talk about all the virtues of Takaful to society. Nigeria, most populous country in Africa, with over 200 million. By 2005, the regulators acknowledged the need for Takaful, that is as financial inclusion instrument, And by 2010, Hilal Takaful was authorized to operate a Takaful as a window. By 2013, the regulators issued the Takaful guideline. This is where I was privileged to have been invited from Gambia to join the team that was working on these guidelines. By 2016, both Nur Takaful and Jais that took me to Nigeria were licensed as a full-fledged Takaful operator. The number of Takaful operators have now been increased, I understand, to 5. Nigerian insurance industry is gross written premium is 1.562 trillion, of which Takaful accounts for 1%. Total insurance industry assets in 2024, that's 3.9 trillion. We go on to see another one, which with Takaful, it is like you just have to be innovative. We design products that are socially, it will help society and socially friendly, and Takaful will always consider making life better for the people by products. And one of those products that I initiated before even coming to Takaful in Gambia was medical insurance. Before within the 90s, in 1991, there was no medical insurance in the Gambia. So people who wanted to, who could afford buying medical insurance to take care of their families had to pay heavily to international schemes like Bupa International, which is the largest in the world, and Private Patient Plan of London. If you are between 40 to 50 years, you may end up paying something like over £2,000. And yet still you use local hospitals in Gambia and then come back to the insurance company to help you to complete your claim form, and you're sent to London. If you have 95 claim, you are lucky to get 60 back after applying all the deductibles and all that. And those times in the 90s, medication was not as expensive as it is today in the Gambia. It used to be that consultation could be $25 or something like 100. But yet still you pay these heavy pounds. The only advantage or the only reason why you went for it is that in terms of evacuation, where you suffer of any condition which could not be treated in the Gambia, the Bupa had the capacity to send a helicopter or a special flight to pick you to the destination, nearest destination that you can be, manage, your condition can be managed. But if that doesn't happen, you are just losing money. And it was nothing more less than capital flight. You're sending all this money to outside your country, and yet still it is not even taxed. So it was then, as a young graduate from Liberia, the West Africa Insurance Institute, I said, no, come on, this is not fair to my country. I sat down and designed the first medical insurance scheme using the Bupa plan and that of Private Patient Plan of London and another one of France. So after getting the first draft, I had to go one-on-one visiting hospitals and discussing with administrators and doctors to allow an MOU where anybody who is issued by a medical card by my company, then conventional, they will treat the person and bills are sent to us to pay on a monthly basis or periodically. Again, the good thing was at the time we are able to connect with hospitals outside, and we would send people for evacuation. And by experience, even during those times, I evacuated somebody to Egypt and numerous to Senegal for treatment. So this is how medical started in those years. And then coming back to the profession of Islamic finance, I still saw that it could be possible. So I designed the first medical insurance scheme when I was doing, when I was running Takaful Gambia. And eventually I did one here in West Africa, Takaful, and it's almost one of those leading big accounts. And even last year, I evacuated a patient for cardiac valve replacement successfully. Alhamdulillah, the person is back to work. and we continue to work. So on that also, I have on national TV this advert that you can watch with me to see how successful we are doing in medical too.
West Africa Takaful daal ñëwati nañ waaw seen xereñ ci wàllu medical insurance leer na nañ ñoo door medical ci réewi Gambia te léegi nag dañoo nangatoo ak lopitaan yu mag ya ca Sénégal Dakar képp koo xam ne yaa ngi bokk West Africa Takaful medical insurance Dakar dinañ la ràññee ci wàllum faju boo soxla nag yemuñu foofu de sa oto sa kër sa alal yépp yóbbu ko West Africa Takaful Islamic insurance daal dem leen West Africa Takaful fekk fa nag Mamodou Musa Joof mi ko indi ci réewi Gambia fii Southern Africa ak Nigeria West Africa Takaful seeti leen ko ca fan ñu nga ca Kairaba Avenue Banjul Burusu bi ak Birkama
woo leen ñu si 500 01 24 727 10 89 699 03 47 wala ndoog 993 4469.
West Africa Takaful mooy ñi nga xam ne ñoo leen di dimbali ci seen wàllu wérgu yaram di leen dimbali di leen sàmmal seen alal kon West Africa Takaful daw leen ca moom Islamic insurance la.
So that is that on the medical insurance, and that is broadcast from Monday to Friday from 9 o'clock in the morning to about 10 o'clock when I sponsor Good Morning Gambia. Yes, this is the latest award. I got numerous of them, alhamdulillah. But this is the 4th Africa Outstanding Professionals Award 2025. And it was held here in the Gambia. One of maybe the second one award that I'm getting locally, but all the other awards, I get them out of my country. So I was very happy with this one because it is in the heart of Banjul that I received it. And it's saying it is like the most outstanding in community insurance service. You can imagine that when you consider Islamic finance, sometimes they give them different names. You go to South Africa, they give it a name. You go to America, they tell you ethical financing. But the bottom line is nothing more better than the right word, which is Islamic finance or Takaful. I continue to propagate and prospect and all that. This is like showing you in 2022 when I took the podium for Senegal Islamic Finance Forum in West Africa. I had to participate as a speaker. And this is 2024 WICA conference in Ghana, as you can see there also. Been delivering as a speaker. The growth and spread of Islamic finance owes it to Malaysia for their pivotal role in capacity building. The Gambia in particular will remain grateful for the support we continue to receive from Malaysia in all sectors, and including Islamic finance. Our Gambia-Malaysia graduate alumni has grown very large in prominent positions in both government and private sector. We appreciate and we very much count on the continuous support in the development and spread of Islamic finance in the continent. That is what Malaysia have done for us. So we say, long live Malaysia. Long live Dato Jamil Usman, Dato Muhammad Fadli, and your entire organizing team for this program. We recognize and thank Malaysia for your role in promoting economic independence and world peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Mohd Musa Joof, Managing Director, West Africa. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Brother Joof, for very exciting presentations. We are very proud of you for your achievement as an award recipient of the very in the field of community insurance. Also, as been mentioned by Dato Fadli, to establish something new in Africa or in any part of the world, we have to go to the same process. When Dato Fadli has experience undergoing the process in Malaysia and in other countries in here, but Brother Joof was the same thing, having the same problem. So he need the endorsement of higher authority. So of course the higher authority, the central banks, and also the word from the president was very important. And Dato Fadli has a word from the Prime Minister, Tun Mahathir, and you got the word from the president. Takaful, very much relevant in setting up the organization. So with that, thank you very much again, Brother Joof. You did mention a few names in your presentation, Sister Amija, Sister, all these kind of things. So I knew all of them, yeah, and especially in the Takaful industry in Malaysia. So we have about 45 minutes, but I'm not sure whether Joof will still be awake for another 45 minutes, because now it's still very early in the morning over there. We open this to the participant to ask question. You can raise your hand or through the chat box. Sister Jariah will handle on this, inshallah. Sister Jariah, have a look.
Ya, Dato. There is Brother Abu Bakar. Can you unmute yourself? Brother Abu Bakar.
Waalaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
You have a question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes, it's Abu Bakar, PhD, calling from Nigeria. Unfortunately, it's almost time for Fajr prayer. But Alhamdulillah, we want to appreciate Brother Joof. Thank Allah for his life and appreciate him, and also appreciate his mentors and lecturers who have actually groomed him. I think that passion and had for Takaful. I know that we've met Brother Joof once or twice. If probably would remember, he was in Katsina in Nigeria, Katsina State, with the then DG of the Jais Foundation. That actually founded the Jais Takaful he has talked about. So then I was the operations manager of Jais Bank Katsina branch. And they came into the branch with the DG and went into the manager's office where they sat. And Alhamdulillah, we attended to them. Yes, Jais Takaful is actually blossoming, and others have debuted. The Nur Takaful that the earlier speaker spoke about, Crown Takaful, Salam Takaful, and more. There is also a health medical outfit, HMO. I believe Brother Joof is familiar with HMOs too in Nigeria. Jai's staff also did set up, I believe, the first HMO, Aman HMO, that is based on Islamic principles, and it's also doing well. It should be in its 4th to 5th year now. The Jai staff came together to put that up. Now I have a question for Brother Joof. Brother Joof was about speaking on that, but I think not so elaborative. Talking about the business angle of Takaful and probably profit. We understand that Takaful is all about contribution and mutual assistance by the participants that make contribution to the fund. However, some people came up as shareholders to set this up. How and at what point it returns as shareholders who have put in their resources to put this great institution into place for the mutual benefit of all. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Can I answer to that? Ma'am, can I answer to that question?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, brother. I do remember when I came with Ambassador Babangida to your branch. You have a good memory. I'm grateful. Thank you very much for everything. Yes, sometimes when we briefly talk about it like that, and you are not deep into it as a professional or a participant, you may be doubting, are these people charitable? They say they have insured 5,000 vehicles or 5,000 houses. Only 50 houses got burnt. This contribution that they have received and have settled these losses, the whole amount goes for distribution back to participants who have not suffered losses. What happens to the shareholders who put up their money, who rented offices or who built offices? Yes, my brother, we're not charitable. They are getting clean money. Because
Sir, your sound very slow. Can you raise up a little bit?
Yeah, okay. I was using a headphone. Let me remove that. Because we are saying, is it better now?
Yes, better.
Yeah, because we are saying you are collecting funds from the people, and these funds go to settle losses. Whatever remains, you claim you distribute back as surplus or profit sharing. The tendency is for one to say, are you charitable? No, we are not charitable, but we are earning clean money. The proposal form forms the most important part of the insurance contract. That proposal form that you come to complete, that you are Abdullahi, your vehicle is Mercedes-Benz, you live in Otako, and the value of the vehicle is 2.5 million. In that proposal form, there is a declaration which is clearly informing you or requesting that you sign that whatever you're paying us, we are taking 20% or we're taking 30% or we're taking 35% to form part of our management expenses. Once you sign that, that is consent. So for a Takaful company, it's an obligation that you maintain two accounts that are very separate. That is, you call it the participant's account. When you go to conventional insurance, you are a client. But when you come to Takaful, you are a participant coming to participate in the formation of that fund for a common purpose. Now, when you are a participant, you sign that declaration, we are clearly informing you that this payment you're making today, this percentage of it will form part of our management expenses. The rest goes to that separate account for participants. So you must have a participant's account in the bank, and you must have operation account or shareholders account. So for every business that comes, if your policy says you are taking 30% wakala, which is the payment you are giving to us to serve you, then, and that is what is approved by Nikon, or that is what is approved by the regulatory authority, then you have to keep to it, and that is the role of the Sharia board to see that these accounts are separated, and you cannot use the participants' account for anything other than pay losses, pay reinsurance, or pay agency commission, brokers or agents. That your participants' account, that is all it serves. And it is when there is surplus on that, that goes for distribution. On the other hand, the shareholders' account or operator's account receive that percentage spelled out in the proposal form, whether it's 30%, 20%, whatever it is, of every business that you receive, that's the amount that you send to your shareholders' account. Remember that shareholders' account or investors' account started with the capital that was required for you to be licensed. So from the capital, you started to rent offices, to buy office tools and all that. And then once you start production, this percentage is coming into that. So the first year, let's say you generate only 50 million. 30% of that 50 million is not enough for your salaries and all admin expenses. But what do? You have to tap into the shareholders' capital. So it starts eroding from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5, thereabout. Now you start saying, I've generated 100 billion. 30% of that is more than what we need require to run our office. So it becomes clean, profitable money that goes for surplus, that goes for dividend payment. On the other hand, the participants' account could start generating profit from year 2 or year 3, depending on the claims that they experience. Whatever remains, zakat must be paid as a priority, the rest distributed. My brother, your contribution was 50,000. It's not that you did not suffer a loss. We are giving you 50,000 less than 30%. No, we are giving you the rateable proportion of that 50,000 to the profit we are looking at. Your payment was 50,000. The amount totally received, the total amount was 50 billion. So 50,000 over 50 billion times the declared profit. If the declared profit is 30 billion, then that is what you own. The other one who paid 100, if you are if you've paid 50 and you are getting 25 back, then the one who paid 100 will be getting 50 back. Proportionately, that is how it's calculated. Assalamu alaikum. I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you very much, Brother Joof. We appreciate and also appreciate the IIIT for this session so far. Unfortunately, I want to take we take leave for Fajr prayer, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
So
please remember us. Remember us in your prayers, please.
Brother Joof. Thank you. You too. You come see the name.
So the brother Muhammad Ibrahim, can you unmute yourself? Muhammad Ibrahim. Okay, he slowed down.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Are you
Yeah,
hearing
yes.
me clearly now?
Yes.
Yes.
You can ask a question.
Okay, I have I don't know, maybe the time will permit you to answer the questions because I'm having like 3 questions. Now, the first one is what we learned so far is whenever we are learning things like this, we should try and implement it and try to dribble the message out to other people. So for someone who have the knowledge of application of app and AI knowledge, how can that person implement that knowledge on Takaful? That's my first question. So the second question goes like this. Is there any other course? Because actually my studied course was Islamic study. Basically, in my undergraduate day, I meant BSc. So later I started having interest in Islamic banking. So for something like this, is there a course that one can read that is that free, like this master course on Islamic banking and PhD course on Islamic banking? Or if there is no course that is that free, is there anyone that is minimal? Because I'm certain of that of IOU, Islamic Bank, Islamic University, General University, Islamic American University, like that. I'm certain of that. But I don't know if there is any other one that one can just be learning from to update one's profile. And lastly, according to what the lecturer, I really appreciate him because I was gingered by his certificate. The issue of Takaful, is it profitable? Because we know from country to country it differs, the rate of currency. Is it possible or profitable for someone to leave Takaful here and try to do that Takaful outside the nation, outside one's country, so that by the time they calculate the rate of the currency, one will be having a larger profit? Is there any possible chance of that? So thanks, sir.
All right, ma'am. If I am to answer to him, the first question was not very clear. You talk about knowledge of Takaful. Can you please come back to your first question?
My first question is for someone, you said implementation of what you have been teaching us. How can we assist Takaful in our own area? Because I'm from Nigeria, to be precise, and this Takaful is not really selling in our own part. It's only well known in the northern part of Nigeria. So how can one benefit with my own knowledge of application, app application and the AI learning? So how can I benefit people on Takaful?
Well, thank you very much. We are very much appreciative coming from the Takaful wall of your intention to support us. The challenge is that awareness creation is a challenge to Islamic finance. Once you appreciate it, it cannot be compared to any system other than itself. It's second to none. So the area that you are in, if Takaful is yet to reach there, is for you to see how you can reach Nur Takaful, Jais Takaful, or Halal Takaful, and indicate to them that there are potential so that they can extend their service to you by a branch or anything. However good they may be, if they are not reachable, people cannot support them. We are saying if Jais Takaful doesn't have a branch in Katsina, which I love very much, Katsina people cannot be paying transport to go or using their own vehicles to go to Abuja or Lagos to buy their service. So reachability is one, and the regulators need to make it easier, much easier also for this Takaful service providers to spread so as to reach out to the needy, because it is a system which is needed by all. So I think that is what one can advise. If you are into Islamic banking or you are interested into Islamic finance, further studies, we are saying you are at the right forum. Certainly continue to talk to people like the forum, Dato Jamil Usman, Mohammed Fadli, and all these organizers. Malaysia is the best center for Islamic finance. You get colleges, you get universities that will actually take you on. And also, I mean, even back in Nigeria there, you have universities that are offering Islamic finance now, and you can always reach out. It's just a question of doing some little contacts and you will get there. Certainly, I've gotten you all my numbers on the screen there. I think you can see all my numbers are on WhatsApp. We can see how best we can support you if you are interested in pursuing your further studies. You also asked about profitability of Takaful. Exchange, considering the rate of exchange. No, I mean, remember, if Takaful Malaysia is to operate in Nigeria, they are using the Nigeria economy so that the exchange does not come here. We will pay in Naira and claims are settled in Naira. You are in Gambia, your premiums or contributions are calculated in Dalasi and claims are settled in Dalasi. If they are pegged in dollars, then it means you are going to pay contribution in dollars, which most economies don't allow. You have to use the economy or the monetary unit of the land. So exchange doesn't have much here. And we have Takaful in the continent and outside, but they are only going to also expect you to contribute to Takaful in the units of your country, because once there is a claim also, that is what they support you on. Assalamu alaikum. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir, very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Brother Awal. I mean,
yes,
you can unmute yourself. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I don't have a question. Just to say to Brother Musa, congratulations, and we still thank you for your role in Jaiz Bank as well as Jaiz Takaful. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Most grateful. Thank you so much. May Allah reward you. Thank you.
MashaAllah. Let me check in the chat box. Oh, there's no question from here. From Nur Arfifa. Nur Arfifa, you can unmute yourself.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Brother Joof, thank you very much for your, I think, inspiring sharing session. I'm one of the instructors who sharing about related to business statistics for this program. But then when I listened to your presentation and our former presenter just now, Dato Fadli, just to confirm my understanding, what I saw is you came to IIM and then you discover about Takaful, and then this is where the knowledge when you found the truth, and then not only you found the truth, but it's also produce the will. I think that you have strong will, the will for you to bring back this to your country because of the knowledge, the truth that you discover, and then you want to bring back to your country, which is, I think, you have clear purpose. This is, I try to relate with the model that I share with the participants throughout the program, with the clear purpose, the knowledge, and then we cannot. I also can see when you mentions about the clear definitions of Takaful and why, how before this Dato Fadli share with us about the process. We cannot ignore the government. We have to come up with a proposal, and then we have to convince all the stakeholders, direct stakeholders related to your country, to our country, in order to establish this in the right way. So this is the thing that I saw also during the presentations, the process establishment, and then not only that, educating, training, and then this is something that produced from the strong will to spread the truth, and then this is the thing that I saw from you, which is if we want to relate to business ethics, good leadership, it started with the knowledge and the will that you want to spread the truth, and then how you really trust this is the right thing to do, so that you have the continuous passions in upholding the missions that you want to achieve. And then the last, I also see from your presentations is the importance of the right people. For example, like you with the people who have the right understanding and clear vision, and then you gather all the expertise, people who have same visions and missions, and then that can lead others, inspires others to work with you. So this is also I saw when I did my PhD. What happened in the Takaful in Malaysia when they start to promote Takaful, the agents, they not only promote the product, but I remember I met the agents, the Takaful agents. They said this is our jihad to educate the ummah, where we have to change from conventional to Takaful, because Takaful is something that aligns with the Sharia. So this is the thing that I saw. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, barakallahu fi. And thank you for your presentation, Brother Joof, and Prof. Jamil. Thank you very much for this session. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the support, the moral support. We are grateful. Yes, absolutely. I I'm grateful to the fact that I had Dato Jamil Usman and Dato Mohammed Fazli giving me challenges that I thought I could not, overcome. But with passion, yes, one had a clear vision and intention to make sure that we achieve more than we are doing now. We're still looking forward to breaking new grounds. One must not also fail to mention that definitely, if looking forward to supporting your children for education, Malaysia is the best destination where you don't get them lose their faith. They will purify their deen, and yet still Islamic finance. This is the fountain where you can get every knowledge you're looking for in Islamic finance from Malaysia. And we are grateful that the Malaysia government supports you, but they will not encourage you to stay. The syndrome of losing all our big brains to big countries does not happen in Malaysia. Elsewhere, you are intelligent, you are an achiever, they would tend to give you nationality and keep you in their country. So how can Africa develop? But with Malaysia, all the support you need is given, but at the end of your program, you must leave. So it motivates you to go back, teaching you how to fish rather than giving you fish all the time. And we are saying that therefore it was definitely by Allah's grace that you do not go elsewhere, but you went to Malaysia. And the fact that you had 14 years experience with conventional, doing it from the very bottom to the highest of manager, was enough to say when you challenged Takaful, you challenged it with the fact that you are going to expose them. They were doing something not possibly true. But at the end of the day, you got really convinced that everything that conventional does is what you do. But basically, it is all about a big difference in the accounting. You cannot be benefiting from that contribution or premium, which is not primarily from you, while sacrificing those contributors or those people who have paid the premiums. And that was a very motivating factor that I said, no, let me rather expose conventional practice now that what they're doing is not acceptable, is not good for society, and is not helping any economy. Assalamu alaikum. Are we there? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Did you get all my message or I got broken?
Yes, sure. Okay. I think this from Dr. Murniati, Dr. Murniati. Can you unmute yourself, Doctor?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to ask. Ya, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Alhamdulillah.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for the presentation, and mashallah, it's very insightful. And I can't agree more with the presenter that IIUM in Malaysia have changed our life. And I myself not only changed my interest into Islamic finance, I did my accountancy undergraduate study at IIUM in Islamic accounting, and it has actually been into my life. I did my master's and my PhD also in Islamic accounting. And again, thank you, IIUM in Malaysia. Every time I land in this country, mashallah, it really beats my heart, and I feel like always balik kampung. Just today, I arrived in Kuala Lumpur. Inshallah, salam to everyone, and especially to Dato Wira Jamil Osman. My questions on the Takaful, brother. Indonesia market share. I'm from Indonesia. Indonesians Takaful market share is very small. It's even around 10%, 10% only. It means we have been struggling, and I think there is kind of misconceptions on Takaful. Takaful is for the rich. Takaful is for something that you will gain. So it's not on very much on wata'awanu alal birri wa taqwa wala ta'awanu alal ithmi wal udwan. So it's not in that spirit. So what is actually that you've been preparing when you talk about Takaful in West Africa? So or in your experience in other country as well. How to convince households like personal and family onto their choices on Takaful, which to me, mashallah, it has given lots. Not only we don't think about what return that we can have, but many things, many other things. Like I started having Takaful, of course, during my time in Malaysia, and my first child was born in Kajang, Malaysia, and I started using Takaful Nadi or Takaful for children's educations, and it offers a lot to me, and I've been doing it for the past 25 years. Had my 3 children, and even when I moved to in Indonesia, I use the same product again, and this is fantastic. So and then plus because Takaful is always associated with people with a good income. So I came out with a program. I call it literacy and ta'awun program for people with special needs or people with disabilities. So we include as well a portion of Takaful, a micro Takaful. It's free for them. I raise fund, and alhamdulillah, I manage about 8,000 people. So because I wanted to show to the society that Takaful is for everyone, in which people with disabilities or people with special needs are mostly rejected in a by Takaful industry, Takaful companies, because they are too risky. So what is your opinion again, brother, about this one? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you for agreeing that IIUM will be pray for IIUM is a real good foundation, and Malaysia Boleh. It's definitely prepared so many specialized people in Islamic finance globally, and we're all doing very well. That IIUM here in Gambia had produced the Minister of Justice, the Governor of the Central Bank, so many professors at the university and all that. So I'm also happy that you're saying you're from Indonesia. I was privileged to have visited countries around Malaysia when I was there on studying. Every holiday I jumped to one country. So I was in Jakarta, and I enjoyed it so much, especially the seawall. I didn't want to leave the place when I went to the seawall with my family. Yes, I mean, actually, that's dissemination or awareness creation is the biggest challenge that we have when it comes to Islamic finance. I mean, people have a wrong concept. It got to a point in Nigeria where friends will say, hey, go back to that small village called a country. Otherwise, you will have a problem in this country. You are too outspoken. I say, yes, it is to say that it is not so much to do with Islam, really. It is so much to do with fairness. Islam does not want to own Takaful, but Islam would want to recognize and accept Takaful for its fairness. So, I mean, it is like you come and you are not a Muslim and you're insured with us. When we distribute surplus, we're not saying what is your religion before we give you your share of surplus. We give the surplus to everybody. And when I interviewed staff in Nigeria, I was privileged to have appointed one non-Muslim to head the IT department, because I believe that no matter how good how much you have in your house, however good things are in your house, unless you open up and invite others, it may end up being like a prison for you. So the virtue of Islam has to be open to mankind, because it's like the world, God created us, and we must be empathetic. We must feel that some people are not into Islam simply because they're not exposed to it. They are not educated. They don't know. They are born to be where they are, and nobody comes to tell them anything. But by the time you get closer to them and appreciate them as human beings who are appreciated by the Creator, very soon they see in you the need to look closer inwards and appreciate Islam and appreciate the products of Islam. This is my principle. If you come to Takaful, when I was in Zambia, about 80% of my staff were non-Muslims. But by the time I left Zambia, four people have already converted into Islam. If I didn't open up, would I get that? When you come to Gambia right now, I have 2 non-Muslims within my company. But it's for them to see how we're living and how we're treating people and how Islamic finance is presenting or proposing or promoting fairness. I mean, this is all what it is. So, I mean, you are saying you have 10% in Indonesia. Gradually, you will get there. We are saying with all that big market in Nigeria, Takaful is representing only 1%. So, you're already getting far more than Nigeria is getting. So, keep it up. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Sir Musa Joof. So I think now we need to come to the time's up. So, and also we don't have any more question, inshallah. Hopefully all our participants can grab from your sharing today, mashallah. And thank you again. Thank you very much again for you, Sir Mamodou Musa Joof. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the privilege. I'm grateful. Thank you, and keep it up. God bless you all.
And is Dato here? Dato? I think Dato's
yeah.
Dato, are you around?
Yeah.
That's
yeah. So we have another
we have
10 minutes.
time, but but I think no more question, Dato.
Yeah, no more question. So Alhamdulillah, they exhausted today 3 hours on Takaful. The experience of Dato Fadli in Malaysia, the Joof in Gambia, and Alhamdulillah, we had a very fruitful session with Brother Joof, and I hope all of you benefited it. And we have enough time for all of you to ask questions. And thank you also to all the participants, particularly those who are very senior people attending, Professor Moniati from Indonesia, Habib from Indonesia, and other distinguished participants from Africa and from Republic Russia, Kyrgyzstan, and so on. So with that, Brother Joe, we are ending our session here. Yeah. What is the time now in Gambia?
It is now 4:17, 04:17.
It's not Fajr time, huh?
AM. Fajr is about 5:50. In 1 hour's time will be Fajr.
Okay. Can have your tahajjud now. Thank you. So with that, we are going to end our session with Tasbih Kifarah and Surah Al-Baqarah. Thank you again. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asri innal insana illa alladhina amanu wa tawassaw bil haqqi. Thank you, all of you, and please
Thank you
take out
very
the
much,
slide.
Dato.
Your slide will be shared with all the participants, inshallah. Sister Jariah will
Inshallah.
share your slide. And also your lecture is on video, which can be watched through the YouTube channel of this program. So we have all the recorded channels for all the 6 certificate program that we have done, which all the others who would like to benefit certificate in Islamic economics, in human sciences, in fiqh, usul fiqh, in Al-Quran and Sunnah, in the Islamic review knowledge are all in our group, in our WhatsApps. Okay, you can contact Sister Jaria, anything that you want to find out more. Inshallah, Sister Jaria will be finishing her PhD very soon. So she will be going back to Cambodia. But she will still be in touch in this program, inshallah. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dato. Thank you.
Pak Habib.
Recording stopped.
Yeah. So you are in Kuala Lumpur, Sister Muniyati. Make yourself unmute.
Let me unmute first, Dato.
You can unmute all of them. No problem.
Assalamualaikum, Dato. Masya Allah. I just landed from Bangkok, actually. I attended the Muzakara organized by ISRA.
Sorry, where?
Muzakara in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Bangkok.
So I landed in Kuala Lumpur last night, and then going back to Jakarta tomorrow to see my children.
Okay.
So, inshallah. How are you, Dato?
Thank you very much for having your time with us here.
Yeah, I told Nurizal actually to arrange dinner tonight. So I will check again, inshallah, if you are free.
Inshallah.
Dr. Habib, please join us here.
Thank you, Prof. Murniati. Congratulations. Yeah, welcome from Bangkok. From Bangkok. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back home.
Thank
You
you.
know that we are supposed to have our online program on teaching Al-Quran by Dr. Azharuddin Sahil in Hong Kong today. Unfortunately, according to Brother Yusof, there's a big typhoon in
I see.
Hong Kong. So we have
Dr.
to
Jamil,
postpone his.
I would like to propose for teaching Quran. We can introduce the audience on how to learn Quran by sign language. So for those who are deaf, and the mute, and of course we know Quran Braille, but for online webinar, for Quran Braille Quran is quite challenging if you want to have the webinar online. But for the sign language is very practical, Dato. So I can arrange that one in together with the teaching Quran, like from philosophical side of it. So just for like
I think we can incorporate together.
Yeah.
The one that Brother Azharuddin do, maybe.
Yes.
Session. We do understand language like that.
Yeah.
So maybe the class has been postponed to August.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think you can contact Yusof for that.
Yeah. Let me know if you need. Yeah.
How many audience in Hong Kong? Because
You'll be in
according to
Hong
Brother
Kong,
Yusof,
okay.
we still need people to learn more on easy approach in learning Al-Quran, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's great.
Azharuddin, he
Great.
has special technique for that. Yeah.
Yes, Dato. Inshallah. Thank you, Dato. Where are you now,
Okay.
Dato? At home?
I'm at home now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Inshallah, I'll see you, inshallah.
Well, see you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations,
Habib,
Prof.
inshallah.
Nurniati. Congratulations. Alhamdulillah. Tahniah,
Inshallah.
Prof. Tahniah.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, Dr. Jamil. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jamil.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Si Jamilu, is it?
Yes, Jamil. You remember me?
Yeah. Where are you now?
I'm now in Mahalla.
Si Jamilu, is it?
Yeah,
In Kuala Lumpur.
You remember me? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jamilu, for attending.
You remember me? Thank you so much, Doctor.
Where are you now?
I'm now in Mahalla Siddiq. I
Good
joined from Mahalla
participation
Siddiq.
from Africa this time, and Indonesia always very good. And support from our big brother Habib in Indonesia.
Alhamdulillah.
He's
Alhamdulillah.
He's always giving the moral support to us on this.
Inshallah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam.
It was indeed a great and insightful session today, and it's thought-provoking, especially the context he discussed about Jais Bank. Actually, I'm from Nigeria. I'm a student here in Indonesia, so I find it very interesting. Yeah.
Where are you?
And
At the
insightful.
Islamic University? You are at the Islamic University in Jakarta?
Yeah, no, not UI. I'm in IIIT. IIIT, yeah, with three eyes.
Oh, yeah, with
It's
Professor
a
Jamhari
top-
Ma'ruf.
Yeah.
Professor Jamhari Ma'ruf. Professor Komarudin
Yes,
Jayat.
from John Maruf, yes.
Jamhari, yeah.
Exactly.
Which
I'm a student
department are
of
you?
Islamic studies.
Oh,
Regular.
Shamsadi. Okay.
Regular,
Prof. Hadi.
yeah.
Prof. Hadi.
Yes.
Prof. Hadi.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I've been joining the session, but I just like to keep mute to listen from the insightful and thought-provoking session by the lecturers, looking at the great scholars you invite over for the sessions.
Alhamdulillah, I shared this program with Professor Jamhari Ma'ruf and others, the rector of
Yes.
IIIT.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
The school with
Prof.
many
Mila
eyes.
Nurmila. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Exactly. I think it's a very good avenue and a platform. I've been in this platform for a long period of time. I think more than 5 years as a participant.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Please keep in touch. Please keep in touch, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
We have our representative in Indonesia, Dr. Ahmad Lubis, based in Al-Azhar University, Indonesia, in Jakarta. please contact him, Dr. Ahmad Lubis.
Yeah. You want to have any program with IIIT in Indonesia? In Jakarta, you can contact Dr. Ahmad. And
Inshallah.
Jogja or other places, you can contact Pak Habib. Yeah.
Inshallah. Actually, Professor Jamhari Ma'ruf was my former student. He's very smart, of Jamhari Ma'ruf, the current rector of UIII. So thank you, Dato. I'm leaving. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Bapak.
Thank you, Sister Joeria. How are
Yeah,
you?
Bapak. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Bapak.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
That you always
Thank you for
attend
the
with us.
program. Thank you for the program, Sister Joeria. Please
Yeah,
come to
Bapak.
Jogja. Please come to
Inshallah.
Jogja sometime.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.